Welcome to this presentation about an instructional method used to integrate technology into classroom lessons called Integrating Technology for Inquiry, or InTech. This model for technology integration in classroom lessons is a 10-step process that emphasizes the use of technology as a tool for learning in order to help students become aware of how to apply technology skills meaningfully. Step 1 is to specify objectives. What learning needs to be achieved in the lesson? What is the goal? The objectives should not be related only to what happens at the computer. Learning objectives should include everything you hope the student will learn and achieve in the lesson. Step 2 is to match the learning objectives to a specific computer function or functions. Determine what computer application or function will best serve and support the student's mastery of the objectives. If the student needs to organize or categorize information, perhaps mapping or word processing software is ideal. If the objective is that the student will be able to analyze and compare data to form a conclusion, a spreadsheet would probably be the best computer function. Step 3 is to identify a problem that students can investigate and solve in order to master the learning objective. This problem should be an authentic problem the student would find in the real world. It should be relevant and engaging, but most importantly, solving the problem should result in the student mastering the learning objectives that you specified in Step 1. Step 4 is to determine the data and how it will be manipulated. Think of this step as a treasure hunt. The student needs to find the treasure, solve the problem to achieve the learning objective. In order to do that, a map, otherwise known as the data, must be provided or found or created. Will the information the student needs to solve the problem be gathered by the student or created by the student, or will it need to be provided to the student? No matter where the data comes from, there has to be a plan in place for the process, the treasure hunt. Likewise, once it is determined where the data comes from, it is necessary to determine what the student will do with it to find an answer. Use the learning objectives as a guide to how the student will need to manipulate the data. Step 5 is to plan what the student will produce to represent mastery of the learning objective. Following the treasure map analogy, if the treasure is solving the problem and a map has been provided as the tool, the next step is the chest of gold, as you need to plan what type of container the student should create to hold the treasure. That is, it should be decided what is expected from the student. A poster, a blog, a report, or any other item that will provide the best way for the student to present the result of his or her time spent on the computer. Step 6 is to plan the activities the student will perform while at the computer. How will the students find the answer to the problem? Think specifically about the process the student will perform. Determine what the student will be doing while at the computer and if it will be a solo or group endeavor. To avoid problems during the lesson, test each phase of the process on the computer prior to giving the lesson. Step 7 is to plan the activity or activities the student will need to do before using the computer. Perhaps they will need a list of search terms or a completed worksheet. Making sure students have the materials needed to complete the task before working on the computer will make this process much easier. Step 8 is to plan activities the student will do after using the computer. In this step, the student is to analyze the information obtained while at the computer. Students should be allowed to compare, explain, or interpret what they found while at the computer. Step 9 is to plan the other activities that support the learning objectives. These activities would be anything that supports learning but is not related to the computer, such as a lecture, assigned readings, or class discussion. Step 10 is to create a way to assess if the student learned or mastered the objectives. It is important to know if the lesson was successful and the student achieved mastery of the content knowledge. This can be assessed through testing, portfolios, or projects. In today's world, it is simply not enough to have computer skills. One must be able to thoughtfully apply those skills in a meaningful way. In-Tech lesson planning aids the instructor to develop a lesson using technology that will result in the student achieving the primary goal of learning, the content, but will also provide a way to show the student how to apply computer skills in a meaningful way. There's tons of information available for In-Tech lesson planning. Resources and images that I used in this presentation are listed here. Enjoy!